directly down the hill from Notting Hill, and it's almost as you go down the hill you move from the richer areas to this part, which I suppose you could call Nottingdale, but is in the ward of Notting Barnes, and this area has high density of social housing. And we've just come down the ramp here down towards, this is Bramley Road with the tube station Latimer Road, and you could walk a few streets over in another direction and you'd be in the area where David Cameron lived before he moved into number 10. The area which we regard as the area we serve comprises of 2 estates, and we are able to work with people from both of those estates. It's not such a divided community as some estates where people from one area don't go to the other. There are a significant number of single parents who live in this area, but also there are a number of stable families, particularly within the Muslim populations. Yeah, I've got a 10-year-old son, and first time I let him play out in our little area on his own, you're like, oh, really scared about what might be happening. But together with some other parents, we've worked on some boundaries as to how far he can go, and that's really helpful. But still do get into scrapes and problems.
I think when we first moved to London, we didn't really understand how London worked, and you very quickly realise that 3/4 of a mile away is like another world in London. Well, we were living in a flat about 4 streets away, in a 2-bedroom flat, and we'd always had the vision to be moving on to the Lancaster West estate.
I thought it was a bit scary. Although we were moving only about 3 streets, there was this aura about moving on to Lancaster West.
Where I grew up, a lot of people went to Sunday school, and there was a Christian knowledge and a background Christian faith that was there, even if that wasn't active and alive. I think we're starting from a much lower threshold, a lot of people in this area. A lot of people around here are just coping, and so their energy goes into coping with day-to-day life. People who live on benefits, people who are struggling to get by.
We've really invested in trying to build bridges into the community.
We do know a lot of people around the area, as well as through the contacts that we make through the church as well. So it does come down to the network of people you have.
So there is that sense of some sort of community spirit. If you make the trouble to get to know your neighbours, but it does take a bit of effort to do that, particularly where there might be language or cultural, what would normally be seen as a barrier, but you can cross them. I think it's an amazing opportunity, particularly being in London. You've got people from all over the world here. You can go and knock on someone's door and you don't know what faith background, what nationality, what worldview they're going to have, and it's just really stimulating and fantastic that you've got the world on your doorstep.
And our vision still is, as it always has been, to build a local church for local people, and it's about the church being representative of the community in which we live. And we've scratched the surface in that, in terms of the people who are part of the fellowship and part of the fringe of the church, but there's so much more to do.
A great thing about actually living on the estate is that you can be involved in the life of the estate. You can't solve everything, and you very early learn that you can't save anyone. It's Jesus who saves, but at least you can hold someone's hand.
You can be part of a vibrant, multicultural, multi-faith community, and as a Christian you can make an impact in reaching people from all nations.
Knowing that God has put you somewhere and God has purposes for that place, you don't want to walk away from that without seeing those things fulfilled.